Hello, my name is Michaela, and this is What's in the Closet. And on What's in the Closet, we will be discussing all fashion related things. We'll be talking about clothing, trends, and much more related to fashion. And to start off, this is our first episode, and to start it off, I'll show what I'm wearing. The first step into getting into fashion is finding your own niche. To find your own niche, you get to look at many clothing styles and many subcultures of fashion. I recommend looking at different fashion shows, example, looking at Gucci or looking at Louis Vuitton, something that will make you very interested in what fits you as a person. Number two, how to you have to learn about fashion. Okay, to learn about fashion, you must take the time to resource stuff. I recommend looking at places like social media, going to actual places that result in fashion, magazines, websites, and many more. An example of a website I can give is looking at the Vogue. They are a magazine company that specializes in fashion and have tips to give to people who want to get into the Fashion Institute. Number three, how to get into fashion. You must learn the history of fashion. Like everything in the world, everything has a history. So fashion also has a history. With fashion, it comes from learning the process, what the materials come from, and what the style is. You can take a long time to learn about it, but I also have a short run up of how to learn about the history of fashion. So, the history of fashion is the trace of evaluation of human dress from ancient times, reflecting culture changes and technology advancements. Significant developments include the rise of hiatus couture and ready-to-wear clothing, the increased influence, of fashion designer, and the acceleration of trends of the 20th centuries due to new technology and global communication. I'll leave a few sources of how to look into the fashion history. Example, fashion history timeline and fashion through the decades. And last of all, to get into fashion is to be yourself. The whole point of fashion is you being your uniquely self. If you do fashion for anybody else, that's not really being you. When it comes to fashion, and it comes to a nice quote that I heard from Naomi Campbell. She said, "Fashion is not just about clothes; it's about self-expression and storytelling." And I want you to think about that every time you are getting dressed. Well, anybody can get into fashion. When I started getting into fashion, I was in third grade and I was just looking at clothing and decided to design my own little clothing and stuff like that. But like I got into it young, anybody can get into it at any stage of their life. You don't have to immediately get into it. It can be a process. It can take you a little time, but you can still get into fashion no matter how old you are.